Welcome, I'm Alexis, and today I'm going to help you to identify the biggest opportunities and risks that AI presents to your business. I'll also show you how that you can quickly start taking advantage of AI to free up your time and obliterate some of your biggest problems. So I think everyone appreciates that AI has huge potential, but also poses significant risks. And the possibilities are frankly overwhelming. The picture is constantly shifting, and so it's hard to know what action to take. As it's complex, with lots of options in most industries, your competition are likely to avoid trying to think about AI initially. But there will be some that quickly nail their businesses to a particular technology, such as OpenAI's ChatGPT, to try to simplify the problem. And there will be some lucky winners here, like those who got to grips with Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok early on. But there'll also be some losers, like those who clung on to MySpace, Vine, Google+. Do you even remember them? So the real opportunity is to be ahead in your understanding with your eyes open to make you able to identify and utilize a variety of AI applications as they appear and mature to create value and solve your biggest problems. So in this session, you will learn why AI could be your new best junior employee. You'll learn that ignoring AI is not an option. The risk is huge, your competitors will win, but I'll share a useful lens you can use that helps to kind of simplify the whole thing using that concept. And third, I'll show you how to focus on your biggest problems and use AI to help obliterate them rather than feeling like you have to start with the technological understanding, which quickly gets pretty overwhelming again. So just so you know, I'm not an expert in the technology behind AI. That's not who I am. Instead, I am ultimately an entrepreneur. I own two business-to-business software businesses and a consulting practice. And I used to be a management consultant. And even before that, I started multiple tech businesses, including building computers from scratch and selling them to local businesses, even while I was at university. So for nearly 2 decades, I've been working with businesses to free up time, reduce costs, and improve performance using processes and technology. But during that time, I've built multiple businesses, including many that don't require me day to day, by setting up the people and the processes effectively. And when I say I'm not required in the day-to-day, I mean it. I can step out of my businesses for 6 or more weeks at a time and actually have done this. For example, in the summer of 2022, I went on a 6-week road trip across France and Spain. That's 6 weeks without needing to work, all because of the people and the processes that I've set up in my business. As a result of that, frankly, we've scaled to 7 figures and a global remote team serving over 600 businesses around the world, including well-known brands such as Sony and Pepsi and Swarovski and so on. And we've done so in a way that keeps our team happy and retention really high, even as a 100% remote team. And so we created AirManual in 2021 to help other businesses to achieve these results as well. And so through AirManual, we free up thousands of hours and reduce stress for hundreds of business leaders using our process and onboarding software. We're also using AI in various parts of our own businesses and are helping our clients from a variety of industries to identify the biggest opportunities to improve their processes, including utilizing AI too. So I feel I have a strong understanding of how AI can be used in your business to improve its performance, free up time, all those sorts of things. So my plan is to deliver some incredible value to you today. After I've given you some practical insights, I'd like to share how some of you can work with me to solve your biggest problems. Firstly, I just want to warn you that that's coming up. But as I say, I'll only do that once I've given you some incredible value. So let's start with why AI could be your new best junior employee. As business leaders, we juggle a lot of responsibilities and can often feel overwhelmed by the daily tasks. Delegating to others is great, but it's sometimes slow or expensive, and it can be particularly slow when you need a lot of back and forth to get the right answer. So I find it really useful to think of artificial intelligence as being like a super fast working junior employee. They can help us get more done in less time. They can help us complete repetitive tasks such as data entry and analysis, freeing up time for business owners to focus on more important tasks. They can provide valuable insights and recommendations based on data analysis, which helps business leaders to make more informed decisions. They can also be trained to recognize patterns and identify issues or areas for improvement. And they can offer 24/7 availability for customer support and make it easier for small teams to provide really excellent customer service. So there's lots of different ways in which AI can help. And in fact, when you then look at lots of different AI tools that are available that cover a variety of specific applications, including editing videos, generating software code, checking clothes for errors, like tears and things, there's a huge amount of potential there, and AI can even work alongside you on creative work, such as preparing to deliver a presentation like this. For example, let's say that I'm about to give a presentation on the benefits of AI for business leaders. You could start by asking one tool, ChatGPT, to give you an outline and key messages, and it will provide a structure that you could use as a starting point. But the key is by giving it feedback like you would a junior employee, such as asking it to simplify the language as I did here, you can get completely rewritten versions in seconds that better meet your needs, and you can repeat that cycle. You can even get it to kind of repurpose what you've created, either based on what it created or input that you provide, to for example, promote the presentation on social media by getting some social media copy that you can use. There are other tools that you can use to enhance what you do. For example, you could use Midjourney to create stunning images to accompany your key messages based on simple text input. And you could even ask ChatGPT to write the whole script for you, to give you the exact words to say, which is like having a secret weapon for presentations. And best of all, your audience will never know that you had a little help from ChatGPT. So, however, be warned, it is a junior employee, and like a junior employee, there are things that it's pretty bad at, and these things will change over time. AI is not a substitute for your own thought leadership and creativity. You wouldn't ask a junior employee to write a book or design a product from scratch, but it can help. So the best leaders and marketers are using this to speed themselves up, to get past the blank page paralysis, to quickly get ideas and iterate on these. The other warning is that you'll find that the youngest AI tools, like ChatGPT, can be a bit flaky when they're overloaded with too many requests, or perhaps the tool starts hitting bugs. So as a result, use more robust tools where possible, pay for premium versions where valuable, and have fallbacks where needed, because some of this stuff is absolutely cutting edge and it's going to have some problems for a short period until that gets ironed out. The other warning I want to give you is to check their work, because they struggle with facts. Here's ChatGPT, for example, giving me completely incorrect information on AirManual pricing and doing so in a very confident way. When I correct it, it happily updates the information, but is still wrong. And when I correct it, it just insists, this information is out of date. I must be referencing something that was true before, but not now. But it isn't. It's just plain wrong. And eventually, in this debate with me, ChatGPT concedes and suggests that I go do it myself. But it was pretty confident when it didn't know that I actually knew the real answer. So you have to be really careful with using AI, particularly when it comes to facts, and make sure that you check their work. It's not just facts that it gets wrong. Here's me asking Midjourney for an image of a hamster riding a dog while jumping over a pig. And here's what it gave me. Seriously, this abomination, you have to appreciate that. This goes beyond them being a junior employee, right? But it highlights the point that you must have someone providing the AI feedback throughout and checking things at the end, whether it's reviewing images, checking facts, and so on, before they get used in the real world. So that's why AI could be your next best junior employee, and some of the warnings that come with it. Does that make sense to everyone? Just post in the comments, let me know if you've got any questions about that. Moving on then, so as business leaders, we need to consider the risks that the changing AI landscape creates. So next we're going to cover the risk and how to manage this versus competitors, because ignoring AI is not an option. Some businesses will be affected in very obvious ways. For example, any business that offers a product or service that a tool like ChatGPT could wholly or partly replace can expect to be impacted. But there are other risks to consider, and some of these are likely to impact a much larger number of businesses. For example, your products or services could become less valuable if AI tools, existing or future tools, can offer a valuable alternative to using some part of your product or service. An example that's been talked about for a while would be self-driving cars replacing taxis and so on, but actually there are already tools like ChatGPT that can do things that are currently done by other businesses, whether it's copywriting or creating social media content or editing videos or whatever, in a way that is significantly faster and cheaper. So you have to look at that. Also, your existing sales and marketing channels could get disrupted as your audience changes their behaviors and where they look for what you offer. For example, someone who previously might have looked for things to do in a particular local area might previously have used Google, and so you could reliably advertise there. Whereas if people are going to start using tools like ChatGPT to get their answers, you may not get the opportunity to be there. Also, you may find that the amount of content that is being created is much higher than it's been before, and as a result, what you're doing isn't sufficient to get above the noise. Another challenge is the new and improved competitors. Your competitors, even if they don't exist yet, could find a way to make or market their products or services in a better quality, faster, more convenient, or just lower cost way than you can. And so as a result, change the competitive positioning of you relative to them. So there's a lot of potential risks here, and that can be pretty overwhelming. So let's do an exercise to help you to identify the risks and opportunities that relate to your business, because it is very industry and business specific. So let's use this question as a lens. How could your competitors use AI to become your worst nightmare? I want you to assume that they're able to go and find AI that does some very clever things as part of this, even if you're not that familiar with all the tools out there. How could they fulfill your customers' needs so that your product or service is no longer required? Or how could they make their product or service better, faster, cheaper than yours using AI? Or how could they market your audience in a more powerful, cheaper, or effective way? Take a minute now just to write down some ideas, and then share the examples that you come up with in the comments. Pause the video, do that. Then, once you've done that, I want you to flip some of those round. Which of them could you do instead? So take a moment, pause the video, etc. Flip your answers around to identify what are the ways in which your business could use AI to beat the competition. For example, let's say that I worry that a competitor to AirManual could use artificial intelligence to create loads of process templates and blogs and things like that to be put online for search engine optimization purposes. I could flip this to consider how I could do that instead. So just take a little bit of time, come up with your own, identify a favorite, and share that in the comments with some of the ideas that you've come up with. So you can see that that's a really powerful lens to use, and we've kind of dug a little into why ignoring AI is not an option and how you can use that lens to help you come up with innovative ideas for ways in which you could use AI rather than be at risk due to competitor action. Instead, you can be the one that's going to disrupt your industry. So hopefully that makes sense. Post comments below with any questions that you've got. At this point, you should have some idea of how AI could help or harm your business. And hopefully you agree this isn't something you can simply ignore. But there's a big question, which is how do you introduce this into your business, into your teams, without distracting them from other priorities? So in this next section, I'm going to cover how to focus on your biggest problems and how to use AI to help obliterate them. The first step is to educate your team so that they can provide their own ideas and to challenge yours. We've created a 90-minute training checklist that you can share with your team to do this. This checklist will help them to try generating content with ChatGPT, try generating images with Midjourney, review what current AI tools can do, and consider how your business can use these tools. And I recommend that you start by sharing the checklist with your leaders and other employees that you feel will give a lot of valuable input on this area. Then share it more widely if helpful. The checklist is available. You can use the QR code or the link that's available on the screen. However, as we recommend in the training list, it's often best not to start with the technology, but with your biggest problems or bottlenecks. A great example of this is we're recently working with a business owner who gets a significant portion of her income from sponsorship and advertising on her top-rated podcast. However, she was struggling to grow due to her spending too much time working in the business rather than on it. So we helped her to identify a few tasks, including editing the podcast episodes, which was taking up most of her time. And she said that she knew she probably needed to delegate it, but was worried it would be too expensive because she has very specific requirements for how she wants the episodes edited, and it takes so much of her time already, and she's worried that someone else wouldn't do it to the same standard and it would be too expensive and all this sort of stuff. So it was a big blocker for her to be able to grow her business and be able to get more sponsorship and so on, because so much of her time spent on that. So I said, well, let's take that process and we'll document that. And I'll show you how I did this live on the call using AirManual. So first we summarized the process and the context to make it clear when it should be used and what matters most. We then added in high-level steps to make it easy to follow, and initially just stayed high level, but then added in explanations and screenshots to explain tricky bits and logic. We added warnings to prevent common or high-impact mistakes. And after about 15 minutes, we had completely documented the process so that it could be delegated to someone else. However, we knew that it would still take quite a long time to complete. So I asked which steps currently take the most time, and we identified one in particular, which was removing filler words like ums and ers, was something that she felt was very important to creating the great quality podcast episode, but it takes many hours to do that. So I showed her how a quick Google search highlights artificial intelligence tools that can complete this step in just one click. For example, Descript is a tool that creates a transcription for your audio or video, whatever you've got, and you can record that in Descript or elsewhere and import it. It will remove the ums and ers with a single click, and it will also fix other issues in your recording as well. And actually that's only the start, because you can edit the text in the transcription directly, and Descript will update the audio, including reordering it or deleting whole sections. And even beyond that, if you spend, I think it's about 10 minutes to an hour training Descript's AI, it will learn your voice. Now, it's not perfect for creating a completely new audio file from text, but it works great for adding tweaks to an existing one, perhaps a word that was missing or whatever. And so for certain tasks, that's a huge time saver. So with this business owner, we added the steps on how to do this directly into her process. It wasn't something that she had even known how to do before, but we were able to add that in so that now the process is twice as quick to complete and half the cost when it's delegated, and is no longer a blocker to the growth of her business. When ready, once all of the process is ready, she can give this to a podcast editor to follow the steps, and they can then interact with it and check it off as they go along, so it's easy to follow the steps. They can capture data to refer back to later, which makes it really easy for them to pick up where they left off or see any missteps as they, particularly as they grow the team. And the business owner can even encourage the podcast editor and her team and so on to track their time and identify further improvements to reduce the time that it takes. And she could remove other demands on her time as well by adding additional steps, such as using the AI to turn the transcription into a summary and turn that into social media posts and use that to then promote the episode and so on. So having those, by capturing a business process in this way, it helps your team to be consistent, it helps them to avoid mistakes, it helps them to easily improve the process where needed. It also makes sure they're not reliant on one expert who knows how to do the task, but it also it makes it easy for you to embed AI into processes once you've got them documented in AirManual. And even when using AI can be complex, but because it's documented and other team members can be easily trained with it, you won't have issues when someone goes on holiday or gets sick or whatever. They can follow the guidance to get the same really fast results. So that's really powerful when you use AirManual in that way. At AirManual, we provide both a tool and a scalable 4-stage approach that helps you get rapid return on investment on your time. And so using this approach, you make sure that you focus on the biggest problems, you make it easy for your team to find all the guidance that they need, you make sure that the value of the content is way higher than the cost, and you make sure that guidance is used and maintained. And in fact, we've got a free step-by-step guide that you can use here to learn those steps and even provide it to your team members to learn that. It also includes how our online platform makes sharing processes and guidance 10 times easier compared to other solutions, and how it takes you through the 4-stage approach, but also shares some options for working with us, our pricing, customer stories, frequently asked questions, and so on. So do use that code now, fill in your details to get that guide, that step-by-step guide that you and your team can use to implement what I've just described in terms of those 4 stages. So make sure you get that. Everyone got that? Good. Pause the video if you need to. So that's our 4-stage approach. But given that the starting point is to identify a problem to focus on, let's complete an exercise right now. So where are you personally spending a lot of time on tasks that should be possible to either delegate or automate, or a bit of both? So I want you to just take 60 seconds, identify where you're spending time on tasks that should be possible to delegate, list them out, share some examples with us in the comments. So pause, come up with a few of the tasks and add them in the comments below. Once you've done that, hopefully you've identified lots of ways in which you can free up your time. So as a result, you should then use the 4-step approach to next create an outline of the guidance to make sure that it's easy for all the team to find the guidance that they need before starting to document and delegate it. And in the step-by-step guide I mentioned, we explain exactly how to do that, what that should look like, what level of detail you should do that at, and so on. So do take a look. Fantastic. So hopefully by this point, you now see how you can make AI your new best junior employee, how you can use what your competitors could do to help you tackle the risks that AI brings and identify your own opportunities, and how you can focus on your biggest problems and use AI to obliterate them. So hopefully that's the case. Let me know in the comments if this has been useful so far, and whether you feel like, yep, got all of that. And that's awesome, and I'm glad you've taken away some specific ways in which you can start utilizing AI. However, for many of you, you might be feeling like embedding AI into your processes won't be easy. You might be worrying about how to delegate this so that people actually do it in a way that gets consistent results. You might even be questioning where the hell you're going to find the time for this. And don't worry, that means you're human, not AI. So I am going to share with you how you can get some help from experts to implement the approach in your business and start getting the benefit as soon as possible. Okay, Is that all right with everyone? Yeah, good. So, and by the way, for those of you already working with AirManual, then please do raise this on your next check-in call with an AirManual consultant, or send us a message to the support team if you're having any issues, questions, etc. on implementing this. But hopefully you've already got to a point where you're documenting your processes and can see how you can easily identify areas where you could be using AI and embed that into your processes. But if not, do reach out to us. We'd love to help clear that up for you. For those of you who are not yet working with, the next step is a discovery call with one of our consultants. On this call, we'll learn about your business, explore your challenges, and whether AirManual can help. We'll demonstrate the tool and recommend an appropriate way forward that's specific to your circumstances, and we'll set you up with a free trial of the software. If you're unsure, you can check out the guide to learn more about working with us. It includes all of the things I mentioned before, the step-by-step guide of our 4-stage approach, how you can work with us, stories from previous customers, and so on. So do check that out as well. Otherwise, if you've got any questions, then please do post them in the comments or send us a message to support@airmanual.co. Otherwise, you can use the link shown to arrange a call with us to discuss how we can work together, or you can use the link to download our brochure and learn more. But otherwise, I hope you've got a lot of value out of today's session, and thank you so much for joining me.